A badge of honor. Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But that's not how it feels today, and the stress of the job is taking its toll, taking lives through suicide and post-traumatic stress injury. A Badge of Honor podcast features the cast of the same name, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno. Sam, John, and the team offer the first responders workshops through their critical incident stress management teams and mental health liaisons to offer state-certified T-COLE credit programs that save lives. It's time to smash through the stigma. It's time to heal from your injury, and it's time to back our blue. Welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast. Here are your hosts, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. And it's Mental Health Monday, and we are doing it a little differently today. We're doing it on the water, right? Today's guests are all about mental health on the water. So many different modalities out there that people sometimes forget that the guests we have today that they're going to share, that it's so cathartic, it's relaxing, it's something by yourself, you know, but among the whole group of people, and it really lets you heal yourself from inside. So welcome, Sam. How's everything going?
Hello. Yes, John, you are correct. How do we know? Because we've done it before.
Right.
With big smiles. We've had a lot of fun. And it is also the kickoff of Memorial May. So some of you have seen the posts through Carry the Load. If you've tuned into the podcast before, you've heard us talk about Carry the Load at the end of the show. We are nonprofit partners with Carry the Load, and this entire month of Memorial May, we are featuring our nonprofit partners. We are one giant family that is absolutely loved on by Carry the Load. They're part of our mission and beyond. And it is just so awesome to have been able to partner with a lot of the nonprofit partners that we're going to have on all month long, in addition to while we won't be live Memorial Day, we'll have a show at Carry the Load and there.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. With Carry the Load, don't they start in 4 or 5 different places around the country, and they all walk and converge into Dallas?
Yeah, 5 relays. All of the relays have already stepped off, I believe. And so you guys got to keep up with our social media, because part of the step off, we, as in me, John, and our guests, have the ability to create the Memorial May and step off in our own way. So you'll be seeing my rucksack as I'm getting ready to take my dogs for a walk every morning as part of my training for what happens at Rivershon Park. And so if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or you are within a 2-hour drive, you want to come out with, last year was more than 10,000 people, Sunday, Monday, Memorial Day weekend. Come be with us. Come meet us in person. Let us meet you. Come say hi and meet our guests tonight and the throngs of other awesome nonprofit partners. And John, with that, while we bring Laura and Camille on, they are with Heroes on the Water. And like I said, John and I, we've had the pleasure of being on the water with these fine folks doing kayak fishing. Welcome, Laura and Camille, to A Badge of Honor podcast.
Thanks, guys. It's great to be here.
Welcome.
It is.
It's awesome.
You caught fish too, Sam.
What was that?
And
I
you caught a
did.
fish too.
I did. I 50%. I've only caught one out of two events, but it's all good. It's a little fishy, but it's awesome.
With you guys, with Heroes on the Water, you know, so many first responders look into therapeutic modalities like sitting on a couch or just straight yoga in their homes. You guys provide so much more than that, you know, and they don't really, a lot of places don't allow you to know about the things that you can get out, maybe a little hike, maybe a trail, but Heroes on the Water is unique in its own right, because you're with a bunch of individuals but you're by yourself on the lake, but you're surrounded by like-minded individuals that are there to support you, which makes your organization wonderful throughout the country.
And very unique. So
And very
Laura,
unique.
tell us how you got started.
So about 10 years ago, I met somebody who said, I started my marketing, right, with Heroes on the Water, and I was doing all the content for a lot of other companies. And she said, I have somebody you need to meet. And she introduced me to Heroes on the Water. And as time went on, it's like they can't get rid of me. So I went from being the content person to the marketing person to the community engagement person to now the development director almost 10 years later. So yeah, they're kind of stuck with me. I love the organization. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
And Camille, tell everybody watching and listening about your background and how you got started with how and.
So my husband was teaching a kayak fishing school, and Jim Dolan, our founder, came and took the kayak fishing school, went back to Brooks Army Medical and said, hey, can I bring some guys down? I think this being on the water thing would be great for them. And took a busload of guys down for the weekend, and they had a blast. The differences between these guys on Friday to Sunday was amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Their communication was better. They were happier. They were smiling. They had stuff to talk about, which up to that point they hadn't. My husband is a retired Houston police officer. He spent his last 13 years in homicide, and he used the outdoors throughout his career to reset and get his head on straight to deal with teenage daughters.
Okay. Well, I don't know about the daughter's part. I got a teenage son on any given day. That's all I'm saying. I certainly get it. And we get the police work. Go ahead, John.
No, but what I was going to say, this encompasses a lot of different things because, like you said, people are different from Friday to Sunday, right? And when I first experienced going out on a kayak, I'm not really big into fishing, unless it's like red fishing out in the ocean and stuff like that. But I'm just not into. But what I did find is getting out on a kayak, the motion of the water, the motion of the ocean, but it was tranquil. It brought you to a different point in your body. So it was not only the rocking motion that was very soothing. Then you go around the lake and you get to experience the different sounds. You hear the wind for like the first time, because in your mind, anybody who's suffering from post-traumatic stress, we're closed. We don't hear the birds. We don't hear the wind. We don't hear the rustling of the trees or nothing. But when you get out on that water, you feel something so different. You're just by yourself on a kayak, and you get to experience the beautiful landscapes wherever you go. And you just hear the water rippling. And right there, that brings such inner peace within yourself.
Yeah, it's immersive. So to Camille's point, when Jim figured he started working with this and he's watching these people and he's like, I don't know what this is, but it's something. And we have to share it, right? Because that's just who he was. And so it's just grown thanks to a lot of different amazing people being within the organization. But you're right, John, that's one of the things when you go online, you can see all our success stories. And it's one of the threads that we see consistently is that just sort of immersive experience really just stops the noise in your head, and you're able to really be in the moment, which to your point is not always easy.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes Heroes on the Water so unique, because you're surrounded by, like I said, you're surrounded by like-minded individuals, but you're also by yourself, and you get to feel that. You get the security of everybody else, but you get the inner peace of the water and the landscape and the sounds, and all that plays a huge role in your mental health success. That all. Good.
Yeah, I was going to say, when people think kayak fishing, we're talking about something that anybody can do, but it is a point that you get to experience something that is a reset button in a way. So if you've been somebody that has always experienced the outdoors or always experienced nature that says, "Oh, I kayak fishing, yeah," this is different because when you focus on your rod and your reel and the things that you have to do the fishing part, and then with the kayak, you're just sitting there letting whatever kind of body of water that you're on. You can't be inside your head because there are things that have to occur, and it's that being outside yourself with the other people around you that I think it makes a huge difference. And we've got to take our first break here, and what we're going to do is we're going to come back. We've got Laura, Lindsey, and Camille Null from Heroes on the Water on the podcast tonight. We're going to take a deep dive into what the organization does, because there's metrics. So you guys know exactly what you're talking about. So stand by, everybody. We'll be right back.
Move freely, America, without medical restrictions or penalty. Without medical freedom legislation in place, our rights and freedoms are one vote away from being dissolved. Move freely, America, with one voice, without fear of retribution, achieving a common goal, medical freedom. We the people make our voices heard by connecting with state legislators and engaging a constitutionally compliant medical Bill of Rights for all citizens. Individually, change is improbable, but as an aggregate, attainable. It's time to act with one voice. My voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
To protect our freedom, creating one voice that cannot be ignored. This requires your voice, too. Move Freely America. Go to movefreelyamerica.org to find a chapter near you. Plug in, donate, and help our legislators defend our God-given rights under the Constitution. Move Freely America. My voice.
And my voice.
And together with your voice, we're one voice that cannot be ignored. Donate today. MoveFreelyAmerica.org.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. We are powered by the OBBM network. And our guests today, Camille and Laura with Heroes on the Water, an amazing organization. And Sam, I just want to touch on something, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because I know I saw a post on this and I read about it. When you talked about restrictions, or if you don't like the water, if you feel like, oh, I'm a double amputee, or I have this problem. Didn't you guys bring Lisa Ramsey on the water a little while ago? Now, Lisa, who is paralyzed from the chest down, she was a Fort Worth police officer who is restricted to a wheelchair. She was shot in the line of duty, and you guys brought her out on the water, and her story was just so impactful because it was something that she thought she could never do. She never thought she'd be out on a kayak, and you guys provided that for her, which really warmed her heart and the hearts of all your followers, that you were able to make that happen for somebody who thought she could never get out on the water.
It's true. I've got another story. That group of veterans, or the group of active duty that came down from BAMC, one of them was a quadriplegic. I can't talk today. They're paddling along. A group of redfish pop up on the water behind everybody as they're paddling by. And everybody's like, oh man, we got to turn around. And everybody starts paddling in a circle to get back to where the redfish are. He pops around in his seat and casts and says, nah, 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 nah. So, I mean, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, you guys provide so much. So, there is no excuse. There is no limitations. You will make it work for them. You will put something together to get that person out there. And I just think that's going above and beyond what most organizations would do. Some people say, oh, we can't do that. You have this limitation. There is no limitations with Heroes on the Water.
We do our best. We do the best we can. I'm not going to say there's zero limitations, but but we do the best we can. And we have some phenomenal volunteers that have found solutions where we didn't know they existed. And they do all the research. They make it happen for their participants. And we've got 55 active chapters throughout the U.S. right now. So that's a lot of great, dedicated volunteers.
Wow.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's get into how Heroes on the Water actually runs, because volunteers, they do a ton. If you guys are listening to this on your favorite podcast app, you can visit Heroes on the Water by visiting their website, heroesonthewater.org. This organization runs because of your volunteer force and the dedication. Tell us how that happens, and how somebody can be a volunteer.
So there is a Start a Chapter page on our website. At the bottom of that page, after it talks about generalities about starting the chapter, there's a link to my calendar. Everybody that wants to start a chapter starts with me. We have a little chat about what it takes, where they're at, the community they want to serve, why they want to do it. And we start the process. They bring me a team. Need to have 4 people to start a Heroes on the Water chapter, and 4 volunteers. And then we start working with them to get their equipment, to get them set up. Laura and her team work with me, work with us to get their website set up, their Facebook set up, so they have a presence in their community. And then they start the outreach process in their community to find people to serve, people to partner with, and it just grows from there. But the idea is that we get as many opportunities to put our heroes on the water as possible. And the more chapters we have out there, the better. Mm-hmm.
Laura, I would imagine that, we're talking about kayak fishing, so there's some equipment involved. How do you guys work with, Camille said, you said 55 chapters across the U.S. How do you get equipment for all of the chapters?
No, I'm going to punt that to Camille because that's her area. She's brilliant at it. She's one of the reasons that we have such great experience. We have so many great relationships with these people. So
my background, after I left oil and gas, I spent 12 years in retail as a buyer and doing marketing for a kayak or for a fishing tackle store. I made a lot of contacts in the paddle sports business. My husband worked in the paddle sports business. I went to work for a factory. Anyway, bottom line is we made a few friends over the years. And so when I transitioned over here, it made the sense that I would take over all of the purchasing for the chapters. The factories don't want 55 people to deal with. They want one person to deal with. So I do. We have some great relationships with factories, both on the kayak side, paddles, life jackets, rods and reels, any small stuff. We've done radios. We do defibrillators. If our chapter has somebody that is certified, they'll have a defibrillator in their equipment. We have a lot of them that are. You'd be amazed how many are EMTs or medics.
Well, that's great to hear. And Laura, there's research behind what Heroes on the Water does, and it goes for the active duty personnel, because there's a therapeutic program, as well as is it fair to say there's a therapeutic program and then the volunteer program for first responders and veterans, right? That's the delineation, right? So how did you guys decide, Jim saw the difference. How did you go about saying we need a quantifiable, we need to show people?
Yeah. So we were very fortunate. Joe Winston, who's our therapeutic programs director, worked with a young lady who was actually going to school to become a recreational therapist. Her name's now Dr. Shelby. And she came back to the team and said, listen, I think I can help you guys do this, and put together a peer-reviewed tool set for us to use that we launched the first year in the therapeutic program, because it was something that they're used to doing, and we wanted to get a baseline. And then last year, we rolled it all the way out into Camille's group. So now our study results, which you can see on the website, which are still absolutely incredible. Every time I see them, I'm blown away. But we now have feedback from active duty. We have feedback from veterans. We have feedback from first responders, caretakers, and family members. So we have the full gamut of our entire community and how it is that they believe that kayak fishing has helped them. And it's, like I said, the results are absolutely incredible. So, for example, 88% of those people said that it alleviated their stress. 88%. That's a huge number. Like, that is an impressive amount of people that come back and go, this really works for us. And not only does it work for them in the moment, but it actually has a residual effect. So we're finding that it helps them improve their relationships, both with their family and with people that they just interact with in general. So that is, you know, one of the real benefits of what it is that we do. Now we really understand it and what it is that we can do with it. And so we're just continuing that study and moving into smaller groups to figure out how, for example, it positively impacts women veterans, or it positively impacts families, right? So these are all things that we're going to delve into deeper because it's important. But overall, like I said, you can go look at it. It's called Operation Early Impact, and all of those results are on the website, and they're incredible.
Well, this is fantastic. If you guys are just joining us, we are talking to Laura, Lindsey, and Camille Null from Heroes on the Water. We are kicking off our Memorial May campaign featuring Carry the Load nonprofit partners. So we will be right back after this break. Stay tuned, everybody.
Interested in starting a podcast or TV show? Worried about what you'll say and how to keep it engaging? Think you'd like to be a guest on podcast, radio, or TV shows? Hi, I'm Susan Hamilton, owner and founder of OBBM Network, and I would like to invite you to an OBBM media training to get the tools you need for a relaxed and polished performance you'll be proud to share. Our specialized training techniques include role play, voice training, and everything you need to deliver a confident, clear, and engaging interaction. Go to offbeatbusiness.com. Go to the calendar and register for a training that's convenient for you. Dates available now, 214-714-0495.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast. I almost said 99 for a second. I don't know where my head was. Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam, with our guest Camille Null and Laura Lindsey with Heroes on the Water. And before we left, we were talking about some of the statistics over a 10-year span, which is very important when you really want to look into a group. You want to make sure they have a track record that is constantly rising. And what you showed, Laura, is 88% of positive feedback, not only about how wonderful they loved it, but how it changed their lives. And that is, you know, those numbers are extraordinary by no means. And for 10 years, how many people, in relation to 88%, like, do you guys keep a count on how many people you've had in the water in the last 10 years?
Yeah, so actually it's we've been around, so it's we're going into our 16th year.
Oh, 16th.
And yeah, through December of 2023, we served over 61,000 veterans and first responders in our history.
Wow.
Yeah.
61,000.
You know, one of the I think I failed to mention at the beginning, one of the great blessings and how I know these ladies so well is, well, we go back to Carry the Load, where we first met. I got to experience what they do and then was asked to be part of the board. So yeah, numbers are key, and every time we have a board meeting, I'm completely blown away by the numbers, not only of participants, but also the volunteers, hours. Because these are people that are not necessarily connected to the active duty or first responder or veteran population per se, but they want to give back. And I think that says a lot about the kind of people that Heroes on the Water attracts, that they have got these servant hearts that they want to give back to the people that are on the front lines every single day. Because let's face it, the first responders, they're not getting breaks, especially now with all the chaos that just seems to get worse every day. And Heroes on the Water, not only from the minute you show up, you're greeted by the volunteers, you're assisted into a kayak if necessary. You go over everything, provide the lunch, the camaraderie. So you have a campfire without the campfire. That's what sometimes maybe have a campfire, but it is this is not a one and done program. This has to be, if you're listening, first responders, veterans, this is a part of your wellness program. If you know that nature is key, like Camille talked about her husband knowing that nature has always been a thing that helped him. If you know that nature is a thing for you, these are events that you keep coming back to. 55 chapters across the U.S. You can keep going. It's not like, oh, I went to one and that's it. This is part of your wellness plan. And if you don't know anything about it, well, daggone it, get on the website and get yourselves out to an event, because I promise you won't be disappointed.
The one thing, volunteers, right? And volunteerism, we have our first responders and our military that are all battling, right, for some sort of traumatic event. But you know what? Everybody out there, probably in the entire world, is battling some sort of mental health trauma or injury.
Or
right?
just stress.
Overwhelmed.
Stress
right?
and overwhelm. Yeah.
So, the worst place for you to be is in your house, on your couch, like I say, watching Judge Judy, eating bonbons. Worst place to be. So for the volunteers, it's also a healing program for giving back. That is so uplifting to your own spirit that you can help another human being. And until you experience that, until you get out there and say, wow, I just handed somebody a sandwich that hasn't eaten all day, is extraordinary. It's got to uplift you. You cannot be in a depressed mood when you see a smile on somebody else's face. So volunteering is a key aspect to what Heroes on Water is all about.
It is. We have a lot of participants that come out that ultimately end up starting another chapter or becoming part of the leadership team for that chapter. It becomes a calling to them. They feel a need that they didn't know they had by coming out and providing this opportunity to others.
Right.
Yeah, it's a way to say thank you. And like you said, with an 88% decrease in overall stress, it's across the board, because you can't feel bad when you're helping somebody else.
No, that's so true.
At least that's what the experts say. That's not Sam's. I mean, I'll take it.
That's what we say.
It can become an addiction. I mean, doing what I do, I don't get out on the water as much, but I love going to the events and being part of them and getting to see our volunteers in action. I am a kayak angler, so anytime I can get on the water, I love it. But more importantly, I love to share it. I love to introduce it to new people. So what I do is kind of a win-win for me.
How old do you have to be to volunteer? Do you have age restrictions?
Not really. I would like them to be over 13 if they're volunteering and accompanied by an adult.
The reason I say that is because when I grew up, I was a bad teenager, going down a bad path, right? And on Long Island in New York, they have nothing but volunteer fire departments, right? Nothing's paid. It's all volunteer. 156 volunteer fire departments. And I started my volunteerism there, and I stuck with it for 25 years. And that actually changed the path, or changed the direction of my life from being I would have probably ended up in jail as a young kid. as a nasty teenager. But the mentors that you meet, the people that you cross paths with in this type of service, like on Heroes on the Water, change your whole direction in life. So if you're feeling like you're maybe going down a bad path or you don't see anything, this could be the direction that you need. This changes lives. And that's what's so great about volunteering. Because you're performing something and it changes everything about you.
Yeah, and young people have really strong backs.
Yeah. That's kayaks are not light.
Yeah, I tried taking one of those kayaks off the boat that one day. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I love it when we have a lot of our chapters will reach out to their Boy Scout or Girl Scout troops in their area for service hours. A lot of people don't know ROTCJ needs, or J, or however you say that, the high school level. Yeah, no, the high school level.
At the high schools, yeah.
Yeah, at the high school level need service hours.
Oh, wow.
National Honor Society students need service hours. And we love it when our volunteers reach out to their local community, find these high school kids and get them involved at a young age. We never know. They may, from that experience and being able to sit and talk to some of our participants and some of our volunteers, like you said, John, may change the direction.
Yeah, I mean,
truly,
because you're hearing it from somebody else. You may be coming from maybe a bad family, maybe an abusive family, maybe a domestic violence incident, and this really can uplift you. It could you see you're around people that are a support network that you can never hold. I mean, it's huge. So there is so many positives about this. Do you guys do like a career day or anything at like high schools? Do you go there and tell the kids what you guys are about to get them maybe on that path?
Some of our volunteer groups might do that. Unfortunately for me and Laura, and we'd love to, but there's only two of us.
I didn't know, I didn't know because I mean, this is something a lot of the kids coming out of high school, and like you said, they need volunteer. It would look great on a college application.
Oh, it would.
Saying, hey, I volunteered this summer with Heroes on the Water, and it just shows the type of character you are.
Well, and 65 chapters across the U.S., there's plenty of opportunities. If you guys are just joining us, we are talking with Camille Nunn and Laura Lindsey from Heroes on the Water. We got to take a quick break, and we will be right back, everybody. Stay tuned.
Look, when you need to respond to an aggressive situation to protect yourself, your family, or your property, understanding your firearm and legal position are critical. Officers know your skills are only as good as your commitment to training. So know what you're doing. So when you're in a vulnerable situation, we can count on your response. Whether you're a beginner or a licensed gun carrier, Carry in Texas offers basic firearms training, Texas permitless carry courses, license to carry, and basic 2A courses so you can understand the responsibilities, situational awareness, and learn the technical skill required when you carry your firearm. Go to carryintexas.com to find the right course for you. Join me, former United States Secret Service agent Samantha Horwitz, on the range for beginner basics, LTC prep, and range practice. Go to carryintexas.com today. That's carryintexas.com.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam, Camille and Laura with Heroes on the Water. Carry in Texas, carry a kayak in Texas. That's what we got to do. Carry a kayak in Texas. So,
go from a gun to a rod. How about that?
Yeah.
We're not carrying kayaks.
I'm watching your ad. I'm going, carry a kayak.
Yeah.
There we go.
From
bad backs. Us old
rod,
people, we can carry a kayak.
rod to the pistol or something like that. But I want to just touch on the fact that the founder, Jim Dolan, he's no longer with us. Jim has passed away. And the legacy that he created, that you all and you have a very deep staff. It's a nonprofit, folks. So it's not like they have endless staff to do all these things, but you do have a deep, dedicated staff that serve their roles. That, one of the first things that you do, because being on the board is talk about Jim and talk about the legacy and talk about why it's important, and to be able to experience the same things on the faces of our soldiers and our veterans and the kids, the laughter and bringing families together. The same thing that Jim saw when he first started. He couldn't put a name to it, but he knew he was on to something. And 16 years later, you guys are still doing it, and you're doing it stronger than ever. I mean, how does that feel?
It's amazing and overwhelming, and sometimes I just pinch myself, right? I mean, we'll sit in meetings, and there are days that we just all look at each other and go, Jim would be so proud, and he would be amazed.
He was a visionary.
He would be, he was so humble.
I do have the pleasure of talking to Sally Dolan pretty regular, and his wife, and she's very proud of where we are and what we've continued to bring to the table. It was Jim's vision, and if you ever want to sit down and have a drink and a snack with Joe, he'll be glad to tell you all about it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You better make sure you have a lot of time.
So that's Joe Winston. He runs the therapeutic program. So when did you guys decide that, hey, we need to do this in two different ways? Have the therapeutic program for our active service for service members, and then have this the volunteer corps running simultaneously.
Yeah, so we when we started really looking at trying to work with the Veterans Administration and the Department of Defense, it became pretty obvious that we needed to align ourselves slightly differently. We were going to need a bit of a different program. So, for example, Camille's group, to be considered an active chapter, you have to have 3 events a year. Most of them do a lot more than that, right? But let's face it, here in the South, you can do quite a few, because I'm in Texas. Whereas, up north, they're lucky to get 4 or 5, depending on the weather, right? And they're all volunteers. Well, when you work with, say, the VA, for example, and you're working with a recreational therapist with people in treatment, you need to have someone who's dedicated to it so that they can, one, go during the week. So they're not doing their events necessarily on a Saturday. It's a Wednesday, a Tuesday, whatever it is. Depending on how the proffer is structured, which is their document, right? It might be weekly or it might be biweekly. And the other thing that happens is that your people in treatment rotate. So the recreational therapist looks at them and says, okay, I think for this next 6 to 10 weeks, whatever the time frame is, you need to do some kayak fishing, because I think that's what's going to really help you along your way, along with these other things, right? Well, that's a very different beast than what Camille does with her volunteer program, which is also very intense, and she and her team do a fantastic job. But the needs are different, and the outlay is different, and just the whole structure and how we work with the Department of Defense, the Social Recovery Unit, all of those different, military alphabet soup. I've learned more about that world the last 2 years than I had no idea, right, that it was the way that it is. So when we started really evaluating it and deciding that we wanted to be a part of that, because we got our start, to Camille's point, at BAMC, at Brooke Army Medical Center, right? Mm-hmm. But that was really, it went to a volunteer program from there, and we only had little bits and pieces. So when we started really looking at it and recognizing there was an opportunity there, then we also recognized that it really was 2 different groups. Is that fair, Camille? Is there anything you want to add?
No, I think it is. It's about the scheduling for the therapeutic programs, like she mentioned. The volunteers, they are volunteers. A lot of them have full-time jobs. Weekdays are not an option. One of the challenges we have right now is getting first responder chapters that might be able to accommodate the shifts.
It sounds like midnight kayak fishing might come about. Maybe.
I was just hoping for Tuesday events or Wednesday events.
I like kayaking under the
There you
stars.
go.
My night shift patrol for the first 9 years. So, and Sunday, Mondays off. And he thought he was living high with Sunday, Mondays off. So, and it's just the nature of the beast. So as we learn more about what works for our target participants, we have the ability, one, because we are a smaller staff, to adapt.
Oh, that's fantastic. So for anybody who is a first responder who's listening, or maybe even a supervisor, reach out to Heroes on the Water, Camille and Laura, and talk about how Heroes on the Water can provide this wellness service for your department. Because if the communities in the military can do it, certainly our first responders communities can do it. And again, this is part of an ongoing wellness recipe. So we talk about peer support a lot, John, and we talk about the other programs, wellness programs, equine therapy that the departments are bringing alongside. This absolutely should be one of them.
To all of those people that are lieutenants, sergeants, whatever they are in their peer support unit, this is not a budget line item.
Oh,
there is no charge to a department if we work with them. Wow. This is just a matter of getting involved. I have 3 first responder led volunteer chapters. One of them is led by the lieutenant who started their peer support unit.
Wow. Okay.
With that, and when you're talking about departments, Sam, critical incident stress, right? So every department faces a critical incident at one time or another. Would this be like if a department had a shooting or they lost an officer in a motor vehicle accident? Should like one of their lieutenants or their peer support reach out to you guys to say, hey, listen, we just had a critical incident in 15 days or in 3 weeks. We want to be able to make sure everybody's okay. Could they come to you and do a department wide, or how many people can you accommodate at one time and say, hey, well, I want to bring these people in to give them a little mental health relief?
Right.
It depends on location right now. If we've got a volunteer-led chapter in that area, like we do in Nashville, like we do in Bethel, Connecticut, like we do in one of them's in Georgia, I think. My firemen are all in Georgia. Yes, or like in Houston, I have Galveston chapter and Surfside chapter.
New York.
Yeah, New York. I've got 2. Now they're not close to Long Island area, but I've got 2 up in New York. Working on one in Westchester County. But yeah, if we've got one, if not, we might be able to work with Laura's team and her ambassador team. Maybe, it's worth a conversation. Let's talk. Right. We may be able to find officers or other first responder firefighters or whatever in that community that say, hey, I've got friends that want to support us. We can start a chapter. And that's really what I'm looking for.
Oh, that is fantastic. Yeah. And I think that's really key is just like, hey, we're here. Let's provide a break. So this shouldn't be like Camille, you said, it's not a line item. It's absolutely free. So we've got to take our final break. We're talking with Laura and Camille from Heroes on the Water. We will be right back, everybody.
To the Health Engineer Show. I'm Cliff Buckley, the Health Engineer, right here on the Offbeat Business.
Hi, I'm Larry Corkamp.
Hi, my name is Susan Hamilton, and you're watching Offbeat.
Hi, this is
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor. We caught you, Camille. What are you doing? Oh,
I got a puppy.
With John and Sam. And we got Heroes on the Water, Camille and Laura. Before we left, we were talking about the things that Heroes on the Water does. And I think you guys just struck a really great chord, because so many departments, and Sam, you say it best, is a lot of the mental health programs are right under the budget item of paper clips, and with you guys, with Heroes on the Water, there is no excuse not to get this therapeutic modality for your officers or your firefighters or your military, because it costs you nothing. There is no excuse to say, oh no, we can't afford it this week. We can't. If you can come up with an excuse to not do a free event, let me know what it is, because truthfully,
we'll make it happen.
Really, truthfully,
Yeah.
there's no excuse not to be able to reach out to Heroes on the War and say, hey, I have 5 or 6, 7 guys that need this. If you fail, if you're a peer support group, or if you're a boss and you don't utilize Heroes on the Water, then this is all on you, because they couldn't be making it easier to help your people in your department.
That's true. And what I want the rank and file to understand is there's no reporting. There's no doctors. There is no rank on the water, period. So, it's about finding a community. It's about finding like-minded people to do something with. There is nobody, just because your peer support unit said, hey, this is a great group, go get involved, doesn't mean they're going to monitor your participation.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's a challenge that I've gotten that feedback from officers.
Well, this isn't therapy. This isn't a therapy program on the water.
Nope.
This is a way to just get out of the office, get out of your head, build that camaraderie, be with like-minded people, be with people who support what you do, who will give you a high five, who will give you a thank you. So yeah, this is so far from any kind of therapy program.
Right.
So yeah, great point.
It's therapeutic for yourself. It's not a therapy field, but it's therapeutic.
Exactly.
It's therapeutic, but it's not. There's no therapist that's going to be taking notes to what Camille said to do any kind of reporting. It's very therapeutic. So speaking of communities that support, you guys, we all have dogs, so don't worry about it. John's will start barking. We'll have a chorus. Well, mine's eating dinner, so they're good. But with that, Carry the Load is a community that supports you all as nonprofit partners. So you all have 18 slots available because you are taking part in the relay portion of the West Coast Relay, which already stepped off. All 5 relays have stepped off for Carry the Load. They'll be meeting in Memorial Day weekend at Reverchon Park. So Saturday, the 25th, right? Saturday the 25th, you all have space available. Where will you be and how do people sign up?
So it's on our website. So if you just go under Support Us and scroll down towards the bottom, you'll see a link that says the Fort Worth Carry the Load Relay. And you just go there and sign up on Eventbrite, and all the details are right there for you. It's super easy, including what time to show up. We provide, just like we do any event, we're going to provide the kayak. We're not fishing this time. We're just paddling. So you won't have a rod and a reel and all that stuff. But we'll have all of those pieces for you, and we'll have people on the water with you. And it's about a mile and a half down the Trinity River. So we're going to go alongside the people that are walking that part of the relay, and then bank, and everybody can then go to the rally that's at the Firefighters Memorial. So it's the first time we've done it. We're super excited. Carry the Load is they're such great partners. We've been a partner of them since the beginning. So we're just really excited to be able to add this piece to it and invite people to come along and just paddle that part of the relay and participate and carry the load in just a slightly different way. And one of the other things that we're going to do is we're going to have a kayak that is part of that group. So think of a missing man table on the water. If you are carrying someone and you want to put your flyer in that kayak that we'll have with a flag, then we will put that as part of our as part of that piece of the paddle. So yeah.
This is the first year you're doing it. This is the first year? This is the inaugural year you're doing this.
Yes. Yes.
Something
yes.
tells me we'll be the last, because that is going to be very meaningful. And you got to have people with cameras to be able to, document this for sure. Well, I'm, we're always so proud to be part of the Carry the Load family, and of course Memorial May and the Dallas Memorial March. What you guys are doing is fantastic. I'm so glad that it worked out. And I think, folks, go on the website. It's been up the entire podcast. For those of you listening on your favorite podcast app, it's heroesonthewater.org. Go there. You said it's under support. Scroll down.
Support us. Mm-hmm.
Support us. You'll see the relay. Click on it. You got to sign up. You got to be registered so you'll have all of the event times, when to show up. And get out there on the water, because you will absolutely love it. Gosh, we want to thank you guys for spending this hour with us. So informative. Mm-hmm. And we hope that, we'll see you out there for sure. But we hope that people take advantage of what you guys are doing. It was healing for me. I know John shared his healing as well. And we're looking forward to getting more first responders and veterans out with you guys in the future for sure. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be in touch.
Have a great one.
All right. So this was fantastic. I mean, that is like, I don't know, John, we might have to do it and get a camera crew out there or something. Make sure it's covered, and it's in your neck of the woods. So
yeah, I was just thinking I may go online and I may grab one of those kayaks for the inaugural.
That's what I mean for the relay.
Yeah. Because it's so meaningful, and what they're doing is it's extraordinary on so many different levels. Sometimes you can't even fathom the volunteerism, the there's no cost. There's just so many great entities that go into Heroes on the Water. You'd be a fool as a boss or a peer support group not to utilize their services.
Well, the cost is your stress. So if you want to leave, if you want to leave your stress, for a day, look, stress is always going to be there, but take advantage of a free program. Like I said, it's not, like they said, it's not therapy on the water. It's therapeutic because you're in nature, the whole nature of it. So Heroes on the Water, I love them. That's why I became part of the board and looking to do some more phenomenal things. For everybody who's listening tonight, thank you for tuning in again. If you're a first timer, welcome on whatever social media platform you are watching on, because we cover all the bases. Just hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a little bell up in the corner. Hit that bell so you'll never miss an episode. Again, May is not only Memorial May with Carry the Load, but it's also Mental Health Awareness Month. There is so much that you can do for yourself. Log on to our website. You'll actually see Heroes on the Water's logo as one of our partners. Click on that, get involved. There are so many resources that a lot of our partners are putting out, especially for this month. So go ahead and look there. And if you're looking for what we are doing, we've got an events tab up there. Click on that. You can see where we are. We've got a family workshop that's going to be coming up in July. Thank you, City of Rowlett. We'll be putting the details on the website soon. But, to all of our first responders out there, we are praying for you every day. Thank you for what you do for keeping our communities safe. You are so valued. Thank you so much. To our veterans out there, thank you for fighting the good fight that allows John and I to do a show like this every single week and speak our minds. For our active duty personnel, thank you for keeping our shores safe here at home. We know you are spread out throughout the world doing some just crazy stuff right now. We are praying for you as well. Stay strong. We've got your 6, John. And you can join our team if you'd like as well with Carry the Load. Join us out at on the Katy Trail at Reverchon Park over Memorial Day weekend. Visit our website at badgeofhonor.org. You will see a pop-up. All you have to do is click that if you can't be with us. Please, whatever you can give, every penny counts so that we can give back to our first responders and veterans in our community. John, take us home.
Man, you said it all, Sam, but right now the prayers need be for all our police officers out there that are battling these pop-up encampments over at and taking at the colleges and taking away the resources from all our civilians and all the people that really need them. God bless you guys for doing what you do and keeping your control and everything else about you, just like the riots in 2020, man. I hope you don't have to go through that in 24, but thank you again on behalf of the Badge of Honor for being out there and keeping everybody safe. Until next week. Peace.
Till next week, tune in again. This is Memorial May. We got another great nonprofit partner coming on next week. Thanks, everybody.
Peace.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBN Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBN Network programming information, please call 214-714-0495 today.